Okay, I think we're good to go. So welcome everybody to the panel about the Vona global movement, introducing it and actually launching it, I guess, right here, right now, yeah? So we will discuss how film, tech, and science can combine in action against ecocide and a lot more from our experience. Maybe we'll just start, because we all know one another very well, but maybe we'll start with just very quick introductions for who we are in the context of Vona Global. Kai, who the hell are you?
I should start, thank you. Hello. So I'm Kai Isand. I am, part of the Vona project, and I think the story starts when Sten called me, and all my, all my body started to shake, and I was very excited for this idea and project and concept that he was talking about. So now I am leading the hackathon part, or the kind of bringing in the tech solutions, and just trying to see how the tech part goes into the film.
How it all works there. How about you, Sten?
Hey, so my role has been I've been wearing like several hats. So in 2023 we started with making the Vona Inside Ecocide documentary in co-production between Estonia, Germany, and Ukraine. And from this has actually ignited this movement, or this tech part and hackathon part of it, just a year and a bit more later. So I'm the co-producer on the documentary, and I'm one of the organizers of this event and Vona hackathon.
Fantastic, thanks.
What about yourself, Calum?
Who am I? So my job is actually facilitating those matchups of the tech companies and the problem owners and scientists in Ukraine. So we actually get some solutions flowing here. But okay, before we dive into the movement itself more deeply, there's a bit more context here, isn't there, Sten? Where's this coming from?
Yeah, it's the documentary itself. It propels around the investigation led by the prosecutors office of Ukraine, and basically there is an international community that is pushing for environmental crime to be amended in Rome Accord as an international war crime.
Okay, that's so added to the Rome Statute for the ICC.
Yeah, exactly. And then basically Ukraine is now building a case which would be a precedent in ICC about war-related environmental crime, and in order to prosecute Russia for this aggression. And we are looking into this topic through the eyes of different protagonists, one of them being Alexandra Matviichuk, who is a Nobel Peace Prize laureate, and she's human rights advocate.
Yeah, actually, I think she would be quick to qualify that as that the organization that she founded is actually the Nobel laureate, right?
Yeah, that is true. Basically, that her role has been massive in building that organization. So there is a lot of light shining on her from that achievement as well.
And then where's the documentary series that sort of first obviously there was the movement from the prosecutor's office in Ukraine to take the acts of ecocide, or to get the acts of ecocide recognized and then prosecuted in the ICC. And then the documentary series, where did that fit in?
So basically we started looking at first of all 4 different domains. We started at looking the damage that has been done to the water systems, the soil, regarding radiation, as well as the air quality and so on. And when moving forward with the research part for the documentary, we dove into the investigation as well. So when now in this process, we are really following different local Ukrainian people, and we are looking into the effect that it has on the local communities. But we have widened the perspective to also the global scale, because having effects on the ecological systems will affect not only the country that the war is taking place in, but it will have a strong impact on the Europe in general, on food supply chains and so on. So we're looking in taking the look of this holistic look kind of to the issue, and not only the issue itself, but we are taking the time to look as well into the solutions, and this solutions part and the research into these solutions has actually given us the momentum in order to create this Vona movement, which now has been manifested into this hackathon format.
Got it. So actually it takes through to an interesting question, is obviously, what is the movement? I mean, we should talk about what its purpose is, who it is, how it happens, and ultimately, so for me, just quickly, the narrative is that we're activating sort of grassroots action from around the world from so many people. I mean, thousands, tens of thousands of people who want to do something who want to do something to help in Ukraine, specifically want to help on the ecological side, with regards to Ecocide, but need a way in. And the movement can actually provide them with that access, with that platform for doing that. And the other side of it, which you touched on as well, was about how a lot of people challenge us to say, well, why focus on Ecocide? We don't have time for this right now, right? And there's a humanitarian side, there's a military side that have to be sorted out. But the Ecocide is actually an urgent humanitarian issue right here, right now, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I think it's very strongly connected with the fact that it's influencing the living environment of the people, and when you destroy the living environment of people, then there is nowhere to go back to after the war has ended for the Ukrainian people. And it also, when you kind of spread it out, there are so many different conflict zones in the world right now where the same thing is just happening. So we're not only focusing on this specific conflict, but we are also trying with the solutions part and with the movement part. We're trying to address the topic in general in a global view.
Mm-hmm. So Kai, for you, what is the movement?
Yeah, I was going to say that, although I introduced myself as well as kind of the tech part of it, then you are right. Like the movement cannot just be technology solution. It has to be the people that are going to rally around this mission, right? And I think why the whole kind of story is so special, that it starts with the documentary and the call to action for people to take action, right? And we have been together in a similar situation with Hack the Crisis when we did kind of hackathon series for the COVID-19. All the problems that kind of emerged at that time, and you could see that it's not just about the solutions, it is about the community that we are building around the mission, right? And people that, like you said, want to be part of it. So, I think already, kind of seeing the documentary, seeing the series, it's already, part of being part of the movement, as in this is where you get your kind of emotional first reaction to what is happening. It's at least I have. The documentary is not ready, but seeing the people who are in it, and who are sharing the material, the visual material, you kind of just understand that that this is so powerful. You just need to take action. And I think, the social movement is the first one, and then the second part is the actual technology solutions that can come into play in offering some kind of a product or service that can tackle it.
Mm-hmm. And I think just what is unique is that there are two processes taking place at the same time. So we're kind of starting two things at the same time. The film is still being made, but the access and the problem statement that the film has kind of posed has propelled already this movement. So what it shows is that this is a very important question, and it touches the lives of many, as well as the interest of many different communities. Therefore, as well, technology and science community who can be the enablers for the solutions.
And so I think, again, you've touched on a really important point there, that there are so many, I know it's not a nice way to put it, but so many tech bros and so forth out there who think they've got solutions. But in fact, this is a super complex space where we're talking about these complex interactions between the different ecological elements and people as well, and it's happening in a war zone. So we need a lot more intelligence going into these solutions before they can actually do anything useful, particularly from practitioners who are on the ground already. This is something else I wanted to bring out, is that obviously Vona isn't in this alone, right? It's not like that sort of Vona is coming in with some sort of cape flying in to save it. In fact, there are so many partners in there. People have been working on this for many years already. I just want to bring out an example here. So our intent is obviously to learn from, to collaborate with, and hopefully even amplify some of these organizations there. One of the examples I think we got the other day is a third of the farmland in Ukraine has been mined. They reckon it'll take at least, well, using current solutions, it'll take at least 700 years to demine that land to make it arable again. But actually that won't make it arable, because then they need to clean the soil to remove all the chemical pollution from in there. But a lot of these chemicals, a lot of the pollution is actually a new challenge. It's something we haven't done before. So we already need to go in and actually analyze the chemical composition of the soil to understand the pollutants that are in there. Remembering, of course, this farmland is essential not just to feeding Ukrainians now and in the future, but actually hundreds of millions of people around the world who depend on grain from Ukraine to what used to be called the food bowl of Europe, if not the world, in there, right? So there are Ukrainian and international partners already working on this. It's not like this is a new sort of idea for them, right? So they're already demining. They're already analyzing soil in there. And they're already working on solutions to regenerate the soil. So how can we help that? How can the movement, as it were, help? What I've been told so far is solutions to help them actually collect soil while they're demining, instead of having a sort of linear process, just to speed up that process there. Likewise, to speed it up, mobile analysis labs to come in and actually on site, actually do the analysis and do it fast. Mm-hmm. And then nature-based solutions, for example, to support regeneration. And these are just the sort of ideas throwing out there.
And I think also, like, when you talk about, like, collecting, not only the data for solutions, but also evidence for, it's also about collecting evidence for the case for Ukraine, right? From this specific, way of activism from Vona, we have already spun an initiative where, like, in next 2 days, from around the world, 15 different scientists from the ranges of radiation, soil, water, air, they will come together in order to basically have a symposium which will result in quantifying and finding out the most relevant metrics in these specific fields of damage. And they will actually put together a scientific article that would, like, help us quantify Ecocide and give the tool to Ukrainian government to build their case, and also to give the tool for the potential solution providers to actually test their solutions, build their ideas, model the data in a way that would, like, help us think ahead, not just to follow and react to the current consequences. So I think this is wonderful.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about that later today, so don't spoil it.
All right.
I just wanted to say from the startup side, it's it's such a exciting time of a hackathon event like this to put together, because it's kind of like this exploration phase of finding all sorts of teams, right? And they're in different phases. They're working on different things. Like I think we also went in straight ahead thinking that we have identified the problems, and this was just a very good learning for ourselves as well, to understand that there's this sweet spot between an identified problem and then a solution that is offered. And I think we are still in this phase where we are discovering new startups that could be adapting the technology. So it can be about measuring. I think there's a great project already working in Ukraine, right, where they are crowdsourcing information about the like crimes happening, or then just events like environmental events, right? And this can be done with satellite pictures, with data. Like there's so many options that we don't yet know, and we are still kind of looking for and getting more and more startups at least interested, right? And putting them together with the partners. So I think that's the exciting part now, that we don't even know the answer yet.
Yeah.
I think there is a lot of like importance on the subject of the access to like information from the problem owners. So actually, from the Ukrainian side, then like the local governments, local municipalities, the government organizations, so on. So actually, in order to understand those problems, this is, I think, where the film part and the technology part and the science part converge. So the access to the understanding and like this mix of those three pillars, they create this certain environment that enables, like each of those parts could enable each other in building on top of the access and on top of the problems and on top of the solutions. So it's kind of this building this momentum out from those three specific areas. I think, so the access to information and understanding is vital in that, and documentary research has been doing a lot of favors regarding that.
Yeah, I wanted to add that, like, kind of to the point of like exploring, and hackathons are always about creativity as well. And if we think about examples from like past projects, then the same during the COVID-19 hackathons that we did, there would be like established companies with existing technology to adapt something for that specific problem or mission, right? So a good example is an Estonian company called Sixfold, that during the COVID-19, they took their technology and adapted this to kind of measure border crossings and make sure that this can run smoothly. So yeah, just like this is what we're expecting here to see as well, that the technology that is already working somewhere else could be adapted to be more specific to Ukraine's needs.
Yeah, because there's quite a long journey from an idea to actually a working solution, right, or a working product. So if we can start with a working product or tech that can then be repurposed, then we can shorten that journey. I think Hack the Crisis is actually a really good model here as well, at least conceptually, because at least to my mind, a lot of the success, well, 3 massive elements around the success of Hack the Crisis. First was the community was already there. The community had been developed in Estonia and around the region for many, many years. And Kai, I think you were central to that, which meant activating it was that much easier. Secondly, obviously the timing. People wanted to do something there and then. Thirdly, the problem owners from the public sector were present. They were there, they were working with the teams, they were involved. So I was just actually wondering, maybe Sten, maybe this goes back to the film as well. What's it been like getting access and getting engagement from the problem owners in Ukraine?
So yeah, it's currently it's a very delicate process because like looking at the mechanisms of Ukrainian public sector at the moment, obviously they're super busy, and they have very long list of prioritized problems that they have to take care of in this instant. So actually finding that access and building these relationships, it has been a lot of work. We have had really good partners from the Ukrainian production side who have been helping us with that, and it's been definitely a journey. But everybody, from the moment everybody understands that that the Ecocide itself is also part of the problem for the local community right now, not only tomorrow, right? Then from that moment on, it starts to get a bit more easier, especially like on the ministry levels, for example, so on. So it's been definitely a journey, and it will continue to be, but prioritizing Ecocide as a problem is, I think, in the best interests of the public sector of Ukraine as well as the people living there.
I think I have to add and plug in our country and our government as well, and it is obviously.
Sorry, our being.
Sorry, Estonian.
I thought you meant Australia there for a moment.
Well, I have to just say, because throughout this project as well, and this is a big experiment again, and the same thing with the COVID-19 hackathons, Hack the Crisis movement. It was definitely the Estonian government who jumped in to support, right? And like you said, there was a community to tap into, and that is the beauty of kind of, okay, let's say it's the Estonian startup community, but it is much wider. It doesn't know borders, right? It is kind of this innovation / hackathon / problem solver community. And I'm really, really proud that Estonia is one of the kind of leaders to it, right? And it's always kind of the activator. And now, we can kind of merge that together with wider community. So, here in this project, having our Prime Minister as the ambassador, having our government entities as the supporters, it's something that I think we don't take it lightly, right? And just to see that kind of showing the role model, I hope that this will bring in more and more public sector, and obviously we understand what is happening in Ukraine, and this is not just another daily project that they will find time for. It is really something that will decide the future, right? And I'm just trying to say, I guess, that I'm thankful that our supporters are taking the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd like to actually come back to hackathons in a moment, if I may, because I think this is something worth talking about. I just want to go back a couple of steps to when we're talking about the problem owners themselves and engaging them with the concept, or trying to get them to consider Ecocide as an urgent topic. And we're talking about people, as you say, who have got so many urgent topics on their table, they can't deal with them. They can only deal with the critical ones on top of that, right? Mm. How's it been going over the period of the documentary, and Kai as well, through our recent engagements with them? Are we sensing a change at all, that people are actually starting to recognize Ecocide as a critical challenge? Or is it still for them important but not urgent, as the quadrant would show it?
Yeah, it varies. The right answer, it varies from different entities.
Has it been changing?
It is getting more and more recognized due to actually the investigation that is led by the prosecutor's office, and also the international attention that is kind of also pressing on the subject. For example, UNEP working on their green recovery plan in order to help Ukraine be rebuilt after they have won the war, and this international recognition is kind of building up the understanding that this is a topic that needs attention, and it has made a few things a bit more easier, but it's far from easy. It's not like Kai bringing the examples from the Estonian public sector and us engaging with the Estonian public sector during this project as well to onboard them as supporters. It has been basically a joyride compared to how we still need to figure out, like, and also it's delicate, like taking the time of the people that are working on very critical issues. We have to be like super like sharp and super on point in what we want from them. And this is also a challenge for our team to actually tackle this in a way that we can present the issue in a manner that they can feel that and they can engage with it and they can come on board, and with the limited amount of resources to the maximum impact regarding the solutions and regarding getting things to go better in a sense.
I'm going to just borrow or copy even or steal Alexandra's words here, and I mentioned them on this stage today already, and I guess she's just inspired me to think about these things is yes, and she says also, right, like if yes, Ukraine needs weapons, and there is this very strong movement not only in Estonia, right, but I just see that firsthand in Estonia, the tech community, entrepreneurial community coming together for the needs in military tech, right? But then also what Alexandra says is just where's the world going if we put all our resources into building innovation in military fields. And I don't think we need to really look for the answer from far, because it has happened in history before, right? And we need to make sure that the balance is there. And yes, here we are focusing on the environmental effect, but then there's also so many social issues and so many more fields that we need to invest in, right? And I think that's the kind of main thing that we need to see these kinds of movements starting as well, and to understand that these are the long-term effects that we need to start working on then today.
Absolutely. I think that was one of the nudges we got as well, wasn't it? That if once the war is finished, if Ukraine is not recovering rapidly for its people, then it's going to leave them vulnerable and leave the country still totally exposed if we don't get into that.
What were the main reasons for that? Could you elaborate?
So my memory was the main reasons were firstly that if people can't return to generating their own livelihoods, then they were going to be exposed entirely to welfare or worse. Also, people looking to if the infrastructure and their farmlands aren't repaired rapidly or regenerated rapidly, then they're going to do it themselves. They'll take it into their own hands, and the way they would do that is potentially go and get funding from more sort of malign or nefarious characters on the black market and the likes, which means that they're totally vulnerable to these people going forwards, under their influence going forwards as well, right? Which means that the country as a whole, society as a whole, is still exposed.
Mm.
Thank you for that question, though. It's an important one. It's actually quite insightful, that information we got. So I want to return to hackathons, startups, innovation events. Obviously, we're deep inside them. This is what we do, right? So we see the enormous value in there from social and economic perspectives and beyond that. But I think a lot of, actually to the point where the Estonian government, for example, I think definitely sees these as part of their toolkit for developing society, for innovating and so forth in positive spaces, in pretty much every space there. But I think a lot of people, even in Estonia, and certainly got the sense from Ukraine as well, is that hackathons and innovation events and so forth, it's all about marketing, generating excitement and activity and so forth, not about actually doing serious shit. Kai, would you like to pick this up?
I think yes, of course. I think that the hackathon scene has evolved a lot as well, and I'm happy that that now the outcome can be fairly different depending on how you set up the event. And it's true, and I've been thinking, we've been discussing this, that we should come up with new words. We should understand that there are differences between, hackathons and ideathons and so on, just to kind of set expectations, what kind of results we are actually looking for. And with this specific event, we with the Vona movement, we are really trying to kind of think long term and engage teams that have an actual working a service or a product,
Some sort of solution, yeah.
a solution, so that it would mean that their next step would be really to build a pilot in Ukraine with the partners that we are trying to engage with them. So it's not anymore just about the ideas and about the story and marketing, like you say, that it is actually about the solutions. And this is just kind of beautiful to see for me, that we started with hackathons, which were just a lot about education and coming together and building around problem statements. And whereas now the hackathon community has also matured, and we can already put quite mature established companies in this kind of innovation process, and we can match them together with partners that are not used to working with small tech startups, and this is why the format is so powerful, right? Because it brings together these different sides of it.
So the biggest challenge is at least to my mind, it's the what next, the so what thing, right? At the end of the event, something amazing's happened. Now what? In there. And you mentioned in your talk earlier that the Hack the Crisis hackathon was successful, or one of its major successes was the fact that so many of the solutions were implemented off the back of that. Is this just, again, a lot of the startup or innovation events are designed around serendipity, right? It's sort of bring lots of people together, cool ideas, a little bit of intelligence and stuff, and magic just might happen. Is that what happened there, or is there something down to design that we should consider?
Well, I think that I'm gonna repeat myself here, but I'm again going to put a lot of that on the Estonian government, because and I'm a bit biased here, right? Because I was working at that time with the Accelerate Estonia project, which is the innovation branch of Estonian government, and we, yes, now I say we, but Accelerate Estonia itself tries to create this kind of door that can open if there is an innovative project that could be implemented, and that was what happened with Hack the Crisis. So we just created with the hackathon, a possibility for these solutions to be born, and then behind that door straight away was the government ready to take on these solutions. And some of these solutions actually work until this day, and they didn't have to be so technologically original and innovative. So one of the examples is a company or a solution called Suve, which is a chatbot that was implemented straight away to give the citizens information about the situation, and it could be just the information was there and could be added all the time, and it's still working, right? So I think that's the kind of situation that we're trying to create here as well, that if the solution is here and ready to offer, to adapt it to a problem, then behind that door that we open is the implementation partner ready. Yes, we are keeping that kind of hackathon vibe that you talk about, the creativity, the serendipity, this kind of a little bit of creative exploratory vibe that it needs. But then you need to have these partners ready and open to implement this. So
I think Ukraine Ministry of Digital Transformation also communicated that the government is working on having an innovation organization to be like plugged into the public sector of Ukraine, and one of the six topics that they were focusing on is also the environment. I think the deadline for the organization to be formed was in next coming months. So basically, I think what is super important in this process is as well is the sharing of the knowledge and the sharing of the past experience. It's not even about the knowledge; it's about the past experience of how similar kind of organizations have been put together, how they have started their working, how are the mechanisms that are connecting them with not only not leaving them only to be the public sector standalone organization, but connecting them with the world, with the companies, with the people, and so on. So I think also there's a lot to do in that field in sharing that information. But for that to happen, we need the public discussion or public dialogue. And for public dialogue to happen, we need a story. And for the story, we need a vehicle, and film being that vehicle.
I see where you're going here.
Yeah,
nice.
I think it's just this chain of events. In this case, is it's very unnatural, let's say. But I think the places where kind of this is leading to have been like separately or fragmentedly implemented in different parts of the world. So now it's just about putting together the puzzle. Yeah.
So you, just thinking back to the films. So you put together some very personal stories in there about the personal impact of the different instances of ecocide in Ukraine. And the next logical step in your head was to start sourcing solutions for these, or engaging the world in solutions for them. Why reach out to the innovation community instead of going to the big donor agencies or to big corporations and so forth to engage them?
I believe in speed. So yeah, that's the main reason, because building things into existing very large bureaucratic structures, it takes time, immense amount of time and energy and lobby work and money and so on. But when you start building stuff from ground up and you prove the proof of concept, then it is so much easier to integrate these kind of proof of concepts to the larger systems, because you have their attention, and it's not just an idea. It is something that is tangible, and I think this is just the way the innovation and startup community has been tackling making something out of like the idea, or making something regarding towards to some specific problem. The speed of this and the structure that it provides is something that is not present in any other format, I would say.
Kai, did you want to add? No. My quick thing on this one as well, just from while you were talking, was we've understood very quickly that there are a lot of unknowns about these problems that need to be solved in Ukraine, be it from the chemical mixes in the soil to radiation flows, whatever in there. There's so much that we don't know in there. And when you don't know stuff, then you need to run loads of experiments. And that's where the innovation community can come in and actually run those relatively quickly and cheaply and creatively, as you were saying before, Kai. So then, Kai, can you talk about, I guess, this is not your first rodeo, right? You've done this stuff before, we've understood. So can you talk about, I guess, two things. Firstly, are we thinking that the tech sector can actually sort of come to the rescue here, firstly? And secondly, how do you go about actually activating the tech sector around a particular issue?
Well, I have to say that, of course, if we don't believe in this, then who will, right? And I do think that, and I've seen this happen before, that, of course, we cannot solve everything 100%, but when, people come together, then we can together tackle this. So with the COVID-19 hackathons, well, we didn't solve it, but there were a lot of solutions that came out of it, and I think that the community part and kind of creating hope in the world was a success.
Could I just actually interject there and say, we were never going to solve COVID, but we did solve a lot of very specific challenges for a lot of people in there, right?
Exactly.
Oh, sorry, we as the whole community.
Yeah, it's good to take credit, right? Because they were, so, for context, Hack the Crisis movement meant that we did the first hackathon in Estonia, which is an online hackathon, right, with 1,000 people on the platform. Then a lot of our friends followed, and we had over 70 hackathon events across the world. Done by different nations, different startup communities. So this is how the kind of global community came together. And after that, we did the global hack, which was about 15,000 people hacking at the same time. And I'm going to be honest, I don't really know even all the solutions that came out of it. And I know some of them, and I know that that there were some very serious startups that are still in working, right? That they were started there. So it just created this platform, that facilitated the opportunity for people to come together. So yes, it is about the solutions, and I do believe that this can be done and replicated with a different mission. So in this case with the Vona movement and with the issues around Ecocide. So yes, I do believe that, and I don't think that it needs to be just kind of the tech community. But we were talking about this before, that there's a certain kind of people that find themselves very comfortable around very complex issues. And whether they are tech people or scientists, or maybe they are just kind of hackathon innovation people. There is something about this, and they keep on coming to different events that we organize. And now we're kind of adding in people that are really passionate about environment and nature. So this is how I think the actual impact or the power kind of comes together. And I think naturally there will be leaders of the community who are happy to be the faces of it, who are sharing the vision, the mission. So I really do think that this is something that will gather a lot of people, and not just tech people. And if we talk about getting the tech people excited, then it's as anything is. There's just a lot of conversation and a lot of networking, a lot of kind of just interaction involved. I think that's. There is no other way. It's always about the connection. So, and I'm happy that we've started this, and I'm already feeling that even kind of like this overwhelming understanding that people that are building businesses take that so seriously that they can take their business and do something that will make really a difference in the world. So I'm always not surprised, but I'm always just excited about that.
I think it's very interesting that actually these processes of process of like filmmaking, process of innovation, like it is actually, when you break it down, the little steps, it's not that standing that far from each other. So, for example, I know the Estonian enterprise Estonia did their yearly gala for the Estonian entrepreneurship sector. That was about it was about dreams and dreaming, And like usually when we talk about dreams and dreaming, we get to this point where it's like, oh yeah, it's so poetic and whatnot, you know, it doesn't like really bring any value. But when you think about it in a rather like linear manner, then like first you need to dream, then there will be creativity. After creativity, there will be an idea. After the idea, there will be a plan. And after the plan, there will be an execution. And after the execution, the innovation will come. So
there's a lot of things that had to work here.
yeah, exactly,
exactly.
Point, right? There is, but it all starts still from a dream of a specific community, from a dream of a specific person, so on. So basically, what I'm trying to say that I think the people that you are talking about here that have this kind of similar way of seeing the world or similar way of interacting with the world, they are people who are brave enough to dream in this world where we have a lot of challenges and might not have the time or the courage or the will to do so. So it's the people who are brave enough to dream, I think, that you're referring to. At least I have a feeling.
Yeah.
So we're talking about film, science, tech converging here in an action against Ecocide, right? Or in an action in there. And this somehow, is the way you've been describing it, Sten, in particular, just seems obvious to me. There's this cycle I love, which is the inspire, empower, activate process, right? And that feels like exactly what we're going through here. So it's been a surprise to me to hear people saying, this is new, what we're doing here, because it seems so obvious. Is this new? Have we got examples of this being done before?
I think examples of film research project converging into a science/tech initiative, I have not encountered one in the world before.
It normally happens inside the film, yeah? It's a sci-fi film where there's lots of tech and science and stuff in there.
That happens. But and it happens also, like, there is impact-based documentaries that have, like, moved mountains in a way, you know. There have been, like...
Can you give some examples?
No.
Actually, can I...
There's definitely documentaries, like, gathering community around them, right?
For example... there is a documentary called Deep Rising. They have been looking into deep sea mining. So basically, and that has raised an international discussion around should we mine from the bottom of the ocean while we don't know what it does with the ecological cycles in there. So we might lose the access to the oxygen of the planet or so on. So basically there is a lot of, like, international discussion about that, and countries are fighting for the mining rights and so on. So basically this documentary shines light on that issue, and I know that there have been, like, the pieces of activism sparked by this very specific film. So yeah.
Kai, can you think of any that have inspired you to action? Any films or documentaries?
Well, I'm not going to go very deeply into this, but being a vegetarian, documentaries are a big part of behavior change, and I'm not going to name them, but there are a few that I was kind of directed to, and they are there's one, actually, well, I can name it. It's called Earthlings, and I think it's I have kind of shared this with a lot of people that have decided to become either vegetarian or vegan, that this was their main kind of starting point to change behavior. And it is a bit of a shock therapy as well. It's not in that sense a good example of building actually movement and community around it, but it definitely has this emotional like kind of motivation built into it.
Well, it gets you to act.
Exactly.
And it's a little easier because in this case, it's a very personal action that you're taking, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I thought about this and thought there were two that really triggered me. One was, did you ever see Kiss the Ground? The Woody Harrelson one or he was narrating it, on the health of soil around the world and the impact of that. And then the other one was Fantastic Fungi. the
that's
Paul
great.
Stamets one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so both of those I come out and say, yes, the rest of my life, this is my cause. This is what I'm going to work on. I live in an apartment in the middle of the old town in Tallinn. How do I do this?
Fantastic fungies.
Yeah, I mean that's our shower. That's where it's
Yeah.
all
See,
happening.
that's why these communities are beautiful, because you do need to have some kind of a incentive to kind of carry on this whatever you change your behavior, you do something daily. I don't know. You go to rallies, you go to protests. Like I think the youth protests against or like the environmental protests that were going on, right? Like, well, it was inspired probably not about the documentary, but yeah, just something that connects the movement together. So
I think Fantastic Fungi has had a huge impact on the nutrition sector, because like there is a lot of like mushroom fungi based supplements that have been like skyrocketing during the recent years, and this is an example of just an industry being very strongly influenced by a documentary film. So I
point.
think it's a fantastic example in that sense.
Yeah. Look, we're getting towards the back end of the talk here. I just wanted to go back to the point that the Vona movement is not something that we're doing alone. That we're the last few weeks talking with activists, donor agencies, government agencies. It's actually been a really humbling experience for me, understanding how many people have actually been working on this, not just for the last few months, not just for the past couple of years, but for 10 plus years in Ukraine already. This is not a new topic for them. They've already been, let's say, putting in solutions, getting their hands dirty all of this time. So that
can I just ask, like, could you bring an example of someone that you have had the chance to talk with who has left a impact on you, and who maybe empowers this humbleness?
Well, I guess it takes a lot to make me feel humble, right?
Wow.
I got your point. One I spoke with the other day, Yulia from Let's Do It Ukraine, who was actually a co-founder of Let's Do It Estonia, or Let's Do It World when it came out, right? She's been literally on the front line for years now, collecting samples, documenting impacts and so forth. And yet, as one of the people who's actually been out front doing this for such a long time, just seems to be incredibly grateful for any extra support they can get in there. And so that was actually going to be my question off the back of this for you both, is how do you think the Vona movement can actually best amplify these existing actions?
I think it's there are several dimensions to that question. Like, first of all, is as Kai mentioned before, it's all about being connected with the right people, and like facilitating those connections, and like building those connections over time. This is definitely the step one. So basically getting the right people in front of the problem owners, getting the right people in front of the governmental organizations, and them.
Yeah, can I just challenge that a little bit? Because I agree with you, but I wonder if Vona is bringing anything new to that. Because it's not like this isn't already happening, right?
I think Vona's role, the second part, would be the awareness part. So this is something that needs to be tackled, and like referring back to your example of Fantastic Fungi, for example, like we have like started this awareness building through already looking for some impactful solutions, and this awareness building will continue throughout the process, and this in cooperation with our partners like Stop Ecocide, World Wildlife Fund, so on. So basically, together with those working on the subject already, we are able to bring more awareness to the subject, and this awareness will translate into more of those connections that we're building already, and then this will help us approach the potential donor organizations that are willing to fund these activities. And one very personal thing that I want to like add is that I mentioned it in the last interview as well, is that like I'm very much convinced that when we talk about defense sector and we talk about like firearms production and so on, like all of these impacts that we see today in the front lines in Ukraine, these are the cause, not solely, but still the cause of using of firepower. So I really hope and I see that there is a lot of like potential in like those entities to invest back in what they take away. So I really hope that they will have the courtesy to do so. So this would help a lot of initiatives forward. This would help a lot of solutions forward in a sense. So this is something that I just wanted to add from what we could get to.
I think I'm going to repeat Sten, but I was thinking about the same thing while you were asking the question, that from a personal perspective, and I know that this is going to make me sound really ignorant, but when we started this project, I was thinking, wow, ecocide, like what a smart word, you know, putting these two words together. And then, well, when Calum told me that this word exists since like the 70s or so, I just realized how long this problem is out there, and like how long this has been tried to tackle. And obviously, it's just going worse and worse, right? So I think this is what maybe, well, documentaries do and Vona does, and hopefully on a next level is it's taking this topic to more people that maybe haven't thought about this too much and haven't heard about Ecocide. And you know, I can then be the prototype of these people that, you know, we're not just preaching to the choir, because yes, there's a lot of work going into this and there's a lot of people working on that, but maybe it's not getting this kind of mainstream attention that it actually does, you know, it needs to. So yeah, I'm hoping for that, and I believe in that this kind of, you know, mixture of what the documentary can do on the kind of in the front, and then the tech and science part in kind of the back, then all together it can maybe bring this ecocide topic into the minds of like everyday people, and out to the mainstream.
Sure, you might have actually just answered the last question I have for you both. But I'm going to see the question now, and then I just want to do a quick sort of wrap up and then come back to you with your answers. So the question is, of course, what then are your ambitions for the Vona movement if everything just goes brilliantly? And again, just to remind everybody what we're doing here. So Vona Global is an action against ecocide in Ukraine. It brings together a community of filmmakers, scientists, tech solution providers, public servants and lawyers globally. We're launching here in Cannes with videos of solutions and domain experts to express what's already available, the sort of ideas, things that people can already bring into Ukraine. And this will just be the first round. These solutions will be put in front of problem owners, both at government and at practitioner level in Ukraine, to see if they can use any of them, and if so, how they need to be adapted for their use, and then what support they need, funding, etc., to make that happen. And then while we're working with those people, we'll continue to collect more specific challenges from them that we can actually start sourcing solutions from and creating awareness out there about those. So that's what we're doing. Everything goes brilliantly. What are we going to see, Kai? Well, I think you just answered it beautifully with your last response. So you've got to come up with something new.
Now I have to, yes, that's hard, because I do hope that what I just said before is kind of the main essence of it. And I do believe that, you know, the more and more, yes, like you said, the more and more precise problems we come up with and more partners we engaged, similarly to, you know, let's say it's the Estonian government, then we we're just open for the spirit of innovation, and I want to see more and more startups coming along and understanding this process of complex topics and a small innovative team that can change the world.
Very nice.
Beautiful. I have we talked about dreaming, so I'll go on with this. So basically, I see that Vona as a documentary. I hope it will get the recognition as the topic that it deserves. So the international recognition for the documentary regarding the broadcasters, regarding the streamers, that they understand that by conveying this message to wider audiences, they are helping actually to build a better world. So this is one. And the second thing is that Vona as a movement, I hope that we will one day reach a place where we can be the platform that has built a blueprint for conflict or ecocide, like providing ecocide solutions for conflict zones, not only in Ukraine, but in the world in general. So we could help other communities, other countries to actually rebuild their environments and rebuild their infrastructure in a way that will provide more sustainable world for the people that live there.
Okay, and I'll just wrap up with mine, which is to get to a point where the decision makers around the world, everybody around the world, recognizes any mass ecological destruction as a supercritical issue that has to be responded to now, but also give a sense to everybody around the world that they actually can do something to solve that there's actually a way forward for them to actually contribute to that. And I think if we can activate the world, then it's going to be, if we can give the world a sense that they can actually, a sense of agency, then we've made it a much better place.
I do agree.
Thank you very much, Sten. Thank you very much, Kai.
Thank you, Calum.
And thank you all for listening.
Calum.